You find that to be a bit rushing things, is that right?
I now can't recall if this should be a yes or a no, but it would be a bad idea.
I don't like to do that, but we have a lot of ground to cover. Commissioner.
Unwise.
Now, to both of our witnesses. I understand that some of the countries, like Russia and China, believe that, quote, policy authority for Internet-related public issues is the sovereign rights of states and not multi-stakeholders. Is that correct? Yes or no?
Yes, that's correct.
Commissioner?
That's their position? Is that the question?
Yes. Is that their
As I understand their position, yes.
Do you agree with that position?
No, we don't.
No.
Commissioner? Now, in your collective opinion, is it wise to maintain international multi-stakeholder regulatory process that more closely resembles the Administrative Procedure Act model that we use in the United States, as opposed to what China and Russia propose? Yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner?
If I understand the question correctly, I would not want a legal paradigm put in place of a multi-stakeholder model. Yeah. So there's some words in there which I'm not quite sure, I'm not sure I understand completely, so I want to make that point clear.
Thank you, gentlemen. Looks like we're in agreement then on these matters. Now, since you're both here, I'd like to ask you about an unrelated matter. I know you're both aware that the President has signed legislation that permits the FCC to conduct an incentive auction in which television broadcasters can elect to return their licenses in return for a portion of the auction revenues. That legislation includes the amendment offered by Mr. Bill Bray and I, directing the FCC to coordinate with Canadian and Mexican authorities so that consumers, and particularly those in border regions, won't lose access to television signals when the incentive auction is over. Now, Mr. Ambassador, would you please bring the subcommittee up to speed on where things stand with Canada and Mexico with respect to this very important matter, particularly so to my constituents, particularly as there are no additional frequencies available for displaced stations in my hometown of Detroit if the television band is repacked. I have to ask you to be brief on this, and perhaps maybe you'd want to submit some additional comments to the record. Mr. Ambassador.
Well, there are, Mr. Dingell, there are treaty obligations that we have with Canada that are designed to protect the broadcasters on both sides of the border. This is a problem not just in the area of Detroit, but also in New York State. In addition,
well, also in Washington, Montana, along the borders of Minnesota and Oregon and other places too.
And likewise on the Mexican border. This is an area, these are things that have to be worked out, and they have to be worked out by agreement between the two countries. But in addition, as you mentioned, there is a legislative mandate that no one be disadvantaged if they choose to continue to broadcast. So this is going to be a complicated engineering matter. It may or may not be something that will permit any particular changes in the status quo in the border regions, but both the treaty and the statutory obligations obviously will be observed.
Now, Commissioner McDowell, you are working on this at the Commission, I know. Can you assure me of the Commission's commitment to full transparency on this matter? Yes or no?
Yes, for my office. Can't speak for the chairman or the other commissioners.
I'm comfortable that you would engage in full transparency. I'm a little less comfortable about some of the other folks down at the Commission. Yeah. I recognize, Commissioner, to speak for yourself, are you comfortable that everybody else at the Commission shares your goodwill on this matter?
I certainly hope so, sir.
I do too. I'm not sure that, I'm a little bit like the fellow that was walking down the street and they asked him, are you an optimist or a pessimist? And he said, I'm an optimist. And they said, well, why are you frowning? He said, because I'm not sure my optimism is justified. Thank you, Mr.
Nice one. All right, thank you, Mr. Dingell. And now we recognize the gentlelady from Tennessee for 5 minutes.
Thank you,